It was just another fall evening in a quiet Oregon town. The kind of town where everyone knows your name, where the leaves crunch under your feet as you walk home from work, and where nothing ever really happens, until it does. On the night of October 14th, 1996, 23-year-old Melissa Carter left her shift at the local coffee shop around 9:30 p.m. She was smart, hard-working, and just a few weeks away from graduating with a degree in criminal justice. She always walked the same route home, well-lit, familiar, and just a few blocks from the store. But that night, Melissa never made it back. The next morning, her body was found behind a convenience store on the edge of town. She had been assaulted and strangled. Her purse was missing, and so was her phone. The attack had all the markings of a crime of opportunity: brutal, fast, and senseless. There were no witnesses, no immediate suspects, and no surveillance footage. Police canvassed the area, interviewed friends, co-workers, and customers. They tracked down every tip, but the leads quickly dried up. However, one critical piece of evidence was recovered: a small amount of foreign DNA found beneath Melissa's fingernails, a sign she had fought back. In 1996, DNA analysis was still limited. While the sample was preserved, there was no match in the federal CODIS database, and without a name to attach it to, the evidence couldn't go anywhere. The case went cold. Melissa's family held vigils every year. The town mourned, but with each passing anniversary, hope dimmed. Another unsolved murder in small-town America. Years passed. The police department changed leadership. Detectives retired. Melissa's parents moved out of state. Her name became a line in an old file, but her case was never officially closed. In 2021, 25 years later, a statewide initiative in Oregon sought to reopen unsolved homicides with the help of new forensic technologies. Melissa's file landed on the desk of Detective Rachel Monroe, a seasoned investigator with a background in digital forensics. Something about the case haunted her: the senselessness, the lost potential, the single piece of untouched evidence waiting for answers. She requested the original DNA sample be reanalyzed and uploaded to a genetic genealogy database, a growing resource where individuals submit their DNA for ancestry research, but which law enforcement can access in specific cases. What happened next would crack the case wide open. Using forensic genealogy, a team of genealogists began building out a family tree from the unknown suspect's DNA profile. The process is complex. It doesn't provide an immediate name, but rather connects distant relatives. From there, investigators begin narrowing down candidates based on geography, age, gender, and historical records. The closest relative, a second cousin. That one connection helped build a tree that led them to a man named Thomas Eade, a long-haul truck driver now living in Idaho, nearly 500 miles from the scene of the crime. Thomas had no prior arrests, no history of violence, no reason to ever be suspected. But in 1996, records showed he had been working for a delivery company in Oregon, stationed less than 2 miles from the coffee shop where Melissa worked. Still, DNA alone wasn't enough. Investigators needed something more, something that could place him at the scene. That's when they turned to another tool: surveillance technology. The eye that never blinks. Surveillance resurfaces. Back in the 90s, surveillance cameras weren't common, and even when they existed, footage was grainy, low-res, and often overwritten after days. But Detective Monroe had an idea. She reached out to a now closed auto shop that once stood across the street from the convenience store. Miraculously, the former owner had kept archived footage as part of an insurance dispute from the late 90s. It had recently been digitized for preservation. Monroe got access and sent the files to a forensic video lab. There, technicians used AI-based image enhancement to stabilize and clarify the footage. What emerged was chilling. The tape showed a man loitering near the convenience store on the night of Melissa's murder. He stood across the street for nearly 20 minutes, partially obscured by shadows, watching. As Melissa walked by, he moved out of frame. That was the last visual before the attack occurred. The enhanced footage showed a face. Not perfectly, but clearly enough to compare. When matched to a photo of Thomas from a 1996 driver's license, the resemblance was strong. But investigators still needed the final piece, confirmation that the DNA found under Melissa's fingernails belonged to him. Under discreet surveillance, officers watched Thomas E. for several days. One afternoon, they observed him discard a soda can into a public trash bin. It was immediately recovered and sent to the lab. The DNA on the can matched the crime scene. The arrest came quickly. Thomas was taken into custody without incident. When confronted with the evidence, the genealogy link, the surveillance footage, the DNA, he eventually confessed. In a recorded interview, he claimed it was a moment of rage. He said he didn't even know Melissa, only that she had ignored him when he tried to talk to her. He followed her, attacked her, and ran. Melissa's family was notified within hours. After 25 years, they finally had an answer. The man who had taken their daughter's life had been hiding in plain sight, free, unnoticed, and unsuspected. He now faces life in prison without the possibility of parole. Melissa Carter's case is one of many that have been solved using the powerful combination of forensic genealogy and surveillance technology. Across the US, these tools are helping law enforcement identify suspects in cases once thought unsolvable. Since 2018, after the landmark Golden State Killer case was solved using forensic genealogy, hundreds of cold cases have been reopened and resolved. And with AI now improving old surveillance footage, evidence once dismissed as unusable is being brought back into the spotlight. What makes Melissa's case stand out isn't just the technology, it's the perseverance. The belief that no case should stay cold forever. That one strand of DNA and one forgotten videotape could speak louder than silence ever could. At Crime Solved by Technology, we explore real stories like this, where science and innovation become the detectives, where cold cases heat up through code and DNA, and where justice is delayed, but never denied. These are not fictional stories. They are reminders that the truth leaves a trace, and technology is getting better at finding it. Subscribe now to discover how the tools of today are solving the crimes of yesterday, one breakthrough at a time.